The Eastern Sierra News brought to you by
T-Bar Social Club, June Lake's newest gathering place, offering June pie, New York-style pizza, and year-round entertainment in a warm, welcoming atmosphere. See you in the loop.
The Inyo County Sheriff's Department reports that on October 20th in the late afternoon, two hikers, mountaineers, were descending the L-shaped snowfield below Mount Sill when one slipped and tumbled approximately 300 to 400 feet, sustaining unknown but serious injuries. His partner notified Inyo County Sheriff's Office through the use of a satellite communication device. Due to the location and seriousness of the reported injuries, aerial support was requested. Sadly, the patient succumbed to his injuries prior to the arrival of the helicopter. CHP, Inland Division Air Operations, made an attempt to hoist the fall victim that night but was unable to land due to the high elevation of 13,200 feet and gusty north winds. On October 21st at noon, 6 Inyo search and rescue team members were inserted about 100 feet below the location via Chinook. Team members hoisted the deceased from his location around 2:30 p.m. and returned to the Bishop Airport, where custody was transferred to the Inyo County coroner. We have the complete story and press release on SierraWave.net. Deb Murphy filed this report. Inyo supervisors review changes to community project sponsorship program guidelines. Area organizations relying on partial Inyo County funding for programs and events can rest easy. While there are some minor changes, including an additional $5,000 added to the competitive grants, the sponsorship program was approved at last Tuesday's Board of Supervisors meeting. Even better news, the one change doesn't impact the amount of funding, just how it will be paid out. 6 grantees enjoy the perk of not having to apply year after year. The Inyo County Visitors Guide, the California High School Rodeo State Finals, the Wild Wild West Marathon, Laws Benefit Concert, Death Valley Visitors Guide, and images of Inyo Photo Contest. The total payout is $39,911. Fishing derbies in Bishop, Big Pine, Independence, and Lone Pine each get $7,500 in funding. The competitive grant applications get a $5,000 increase this year for a total of $34,000. The total payout rises to $100,000. The additional funding will be split between the Trout Opener Press Reception and Rainbow Days, sponsored by the Bishop Chamber of Commerce, and advertising for the slate of county-funded fishing derbies. According to John Klusmeyer, the guideline guru, organizations will be getting the full grant amount prior to the event. In the past, half the allocated funding was handed out prior to the event, with the balance paid after the event. Grantees will be required to hold on to all receipts. Linda Chapman, the assistant CAO, explained there will be an audit requirement, but on a rolling basis. The logic is simple: to ease the pain on the smaller organizations. Board members questioned what they saw as a lack of financial overview. The track record of the nonprofits indicates the money is well spent, Klusmeyer said. In the past, he added, organizations would turn in just enough receipts to cover the grant funding. We don't get all the receipts from the events, he said. Supervisors Rick Pucci, Matt Kingsley, and Dan Tothero got the logic behind the change. Some of the smaller organizations may not have enough money to start the event, Kingsley said. Supervisor Jeff Griffiths had a different view. Chapman explained the funding applications required a written report to the board. Griffiths wanted an oral report to the board, including the requirement that the 4 community fishing derbies file an official application. In the past, the 4 community fishing derbies weren't required to submit applications. Griffiths wanted that to change as well. The public could have questions, he said. A small report on how the money was spent is not onerous. It seems reasonable. The rest of the board members approved the grant programming with changes. Deb Murphy also has this update. LEDWP not bailing out Indian Wells overdraft for now. The critical aquifer overdraft in the Indian Wells Valley has been viewed with dread at Owens Valley Groundwater Authority meetings. Between Growth and Ridgecrest and the Naval Air Station at White Sands, the area's groundwater is in overdraft. The Owens Valley Basin, on the other hand, appears to be in decent shape with a yet unverified low priority rating. So why does the OVGA cringe at any mention of Indian Wells? It's a possibility that the district will stick a big straw in the Los Angeles aqueduct and suck out the Eastern Sierra runoff. We can all relax. According to the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, there have been no agreements nor any proposals developed. That statement was somewhat verified by Donald Zadiba, General Manager of the Indian Wells Groundwater Authority. Quote, representatives from Capital Core Group, the water marketers hired by the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority to research potential resources for imported water, Stetson Engineers, the water resources manager, and myself met with LADWP earlier this year to discuss the concept of a water banking project. LADWP has been considering a banking project going back as far as 2008. At that time, Indian Wells Valley Water District responded to an RFBP from LADWP to construct and operate a water banking project. Indian Wells Valley was the preferred site, but the project never went forward. LADWP has since resurrected interest in a banking project along the Eastern Sierra, and this meeting was to discuss the IWV as a possible location. David Pettijohn was the primary contact with LADWP during that meeting. There was no firm action taken as a result of the meeting. Discussion was of a general nature, end quote. We thank Deb Murphy for these reports and have the complete stories on SierraWave.net. We'll be back with more news, information on great events this weekend, and a weather report.